evening and welcome to the NewsHour agenda. Madhavdas G viewers. Mahua Moitra is the latest opposition MP staring at a suspension of a Lok Sabha membership because today the ethics panel of Parliament has adopted a report recommending the expulsion of the TMC MP. This report has cited quote-unquote unethical conduct and contempt of House for sharing the Lok Sabha login credentials with unauthorized persons. Mahua's actions were termed a serious misdemeanor and has left it for the central government to investigate and establish the money trail.
देखिए आज का एजेंडा ही था कि रिपोर्ट को एडॉप्ट करना, ठीक, उसको लेके कल विस्तृत जो जांच हुई थी, पूरी की पूरी रिपोर्ट अपनी सिफारिशों के साथ सम्मानित सदस्यों को भेज दी गई थी और आज की कार्रवाई का महत्व उद्देश्य था रिपोर्ट को एडॉप्ट करना। इसमें अगर किसी को आपत्ति था अपना डिसेंट नोट दे सकता था। कुछ सम्मानित सदस्यों ने अपना डिसेंट नोट दिया भी है। देखिए जब ये पूरी रिपोर्ट पार्लियामेंट के टेबल पर पहुंचेगी, पब्लिक डोमेन पे आएगी, पूरी रिपोर्ट देखेंगे तो आपको लगेगा एथिक्स कमेटी ने पूरी विस्तृत इसकी जांच की है। जिसकी आवश्यकता थी उनको बुलाया गया, उनसे पूरा बहस जीरा किया गया, उनसे साक्ष्य लिया गया और जिनकी आवश्यकता नहीं तो उन्हें बुलाया गया। महुआ मोइत्रा के द्वारा जो अपने बचाव में जो बातें कही उन सारी बातों को ऑन रिकॉर्ड लेके उसको एग्जामिन करके एक विस्तृत रिपोर्ट मानी लोकसभा स्पीकर महोदय को अपनी सिफारिशों के साथ एथिक्स कमेटी ने तैयार किया।
The MPs who voted against the adoption of the report alleged that there was no discussion on the draft report and that the ethics panel meeting ended in just 2 minutes. They've also questioned why complainant Hiranandani was not cross-examined.
दो रूल्स, एक रूल दो मापदंड नहीं हो सकते। पार्लियामेंट के अंदर रमेश बिदुड़ी ने किस तरह कैसे किया, एक जगह बुलेट ट्रेन की तरह कार्रवाई हो गई, दूसरी तरफ ठंडे बस्ते में पड़ी।
बहुमत उसके पास था, फैसला उसी के पक्ष में होना चाहिए था, लेकिन डिस्कशन होके होना चाहिए ना। नो कॉन्फिडेंस मोशन आता, जानता है कि सरकार जीतेगी, हम हारेंगे, लेकिन बहस होता है, 2 दिन होता है, ये तो 2 मिनट भी बहस करने के लिए तैयार नहीं।
There is no evidence crossing and we want to examine the Darshan Hiranandani. The committee not allowed us. There is no cash transaction evidence. There is no rules for the login ID and other things. So what is wrong with this? That is the issue from the opposition side.
The BJP has said that the focus should be on misdemeanor and the threat to national security. They've even quoted specific instances where the committee has found that not only did Mahua Moitra break the rules, but have also found prima facie the charge of quid pro quo are correct.
जो भी बातें सामने आई, मुझे नहीं लगता है कि कोई भी सही सोचने वाला व्यक्ति आदरणीय महुआ मोइत्रा जी का साथ देगा। जिस तरह से ब्रीच ऑफ प्रिविलेज हुआ, जिस तरह से कंटेम्प्ट ऑफ हाउस हुआ, जिस तरह से रूल्स ऑफ प्रोसीडियर और कंडक्ट ऑफ बिजनेस इन लोकसभा के प्रावधानों का उल्लंघन हुआ, तो मुझे नहीं लगता है कि कोई ढंग से सोचने वाला व्यक्ति सपोर्ट करेगा। तो मैडम प्रणीत कौर को धन्यवाद।
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
To understand what exactly is the process from here on and what we can expect in coming days, we have with us constitutional expert PDT Achary, who has very closely observed the functioning of Parliament. Mr. Achary, I'd like to thank you very much for joining us here on Times Now. Now that the Ethics Committee has adopted a report 6-4, there are some dissenting notes that also have been given by various opposition members. Now we understand that this is on the table of the Speaker. What can we expect from here on in terms of what really the options are before the Speaker? Will he accept this report? Can he reject the report? Can he seek more advice? What exactly are the options before the Speaker at this moment?
So the options before the Speaker are very limited. When a report is submitted to the Speaker, as per the rules, he can certainly order the publication of this report and circulation and so on. So officially this will become public. Otherwise, when a committee gives a report, or adopts a report, after that, till it is presented in the House, it remains confidential. But here, the rule provides that the chairman or any other member can submit this report to the Speaker, and the Speaker can order the publication or circulation and so on. After that, when the House meets, this report will be presented in the House. And after presentation, there will be a discussion on it. And the rule says for half an hour, the Speaker can allow a debate for half an hour. But after that, there will be another motion seeking the approval of the House
Okay.
of these recommendations.
Right. Right.
So if the House agrees with the motion, that means the person will stand expelled.
Okay. Okay.
So that is the procedure.
Right. Right. Also, in terms of, since this also has some legal issues involved, there is also a suggestion that under the aegis of the Government of India, there should be a probe into the allegations of cash exchanging hands, etc., because the committee says it does not have the wherewithal to probe that. How will this go ahead further? Is it for the Speaker to submit this report to the government, or will he seek further legal advice? How does this aspect, how do you see this playing out?
No, but this report will be before the House. So naturally, the government is a part of the House, and the government will act on it. Speaker doesn't have to say anything. The government will act on the report. Once it is adopted, it becomes a property of the House, and it's a direction to the government. So the government will act on it, most probably.
Okay.
So that is the procedure.
Right.
Only.
Also, sir, in terms of the actual procedure that has taken place, there's a lot of, there are differing versions. As with any political controversy, you can expect, of course, the government and opposition to be on different pages. In this case, of course, the opposition says that it hasn't been a fair probe, that, some of the persons concerned, like Mr. Hiranandani, were not summoned. In your light and in your experience, given that there have been similar allegations that various parliamentary committees have looked into, particularly the aspect of cash for queries, do you see the process or the procedure any different now than what has been followed earlier?
See, there are procedures laid down for the committees of Parliament. Now, these committees, for example, this Ethics Committee, the Privileges Committee, etc., these perform different functions. These committees perform investigative function, unlike other committees. So naturally, these committees will have to follow a different procedure. Because the guilt of the member has to be proved. For example, the member will be punished. Punishment may be different for different cases. It may be suspension in some cases, it may be admonition, or it may be reprimand, or in an extreme case, it may be expulsion from the House. So, when a member is to be punished, certainly these committees which perform this investigative function will have to follow a foolproof procedure so that the truth comes out. So from that point of view, certainly, although the rule doesn't say anything about the cross-examination of the complainant and the people who support the complaints, but still, in the interest of truth and fair investigation, it may become necessary for allowing the defendant to cross-examine these people, the complainant and so on.
And who has the final
that may
say? Is
be
it the chairman who has
a
the final say?
requirement of a fair investigation. Yes, chairman will have the final say, and so far as the committee's procedures are concerned, the rule itself says that the committee can lay down a procedure from time to time.
Okay.
So, depending on the gravity of the case or depending on the nature of the case, certainly the committee is free to lay down a particular procedure.
Okay.
But then the only thing is, since it is an investigative function, naturally the investigation should follow a proper procedure.
Right. All right, Mr. Achary, thank you so much for joining us and explaining to us what has been the practice so far, the precedent so far, and what we can expect in coming days. Will the report be made public? Will it be presented before the House? All of those are certainly questions that we'll only know once the Speaker decides on what to do with this particular report. Thank you so much, Mr. Achary, for joining us. I want to open up this debate now and take this across to our panelists. With us is Sanju Verma, BJP spokesperson. Barrister Kabir Shankar Bose, lawyer, is with us. With us also is Advocate Nikhil Jain. Joining us also is Anirban Banerjee, political analyst. But I first and foremost want to take this across to Dr. Shantanu Sen. Dr. Shantanu Sen, you heard someone who is very experienced and is a known constitutional expert, Mr. PDT Achary, saying that what the Speaker does, of course, is his prerogative. But in terms of the final calling of, witnesses, we're seeing opposition leaders come out and say in the dissent notes, for instance, that Mr. Darshan Hiranandani was not called. The final say ultimately rests with the chairman. And that's exactly the rule that has been followed in this case, is what the BJP will say. Dr. Sen.
Prior to that, I would like to let you know that so far my knowledge goes, last meeting of Ethics Committee took place in July 2021. So many cases are lying with Ethics Committee. So many cases are lying with Privilege Committee. You tell me, even during the case of Ramesh Biduri, we have seen using him filthy language against Danish Ali, who belongs to a minority community. What has happened? My second question. The Ethics Committee meeting took place today itself, but their proposal of suspension of Mahua Moitra came on the surface through a media owned by Adani yesterday. My third question. In one hand, they are suggesting it should be inquired by CBI. On the other hand, they are recommending for suspension. If you demanding some inquiry on a particular issue, then prior to the report of inquiry, how can you recommend suspension of one particular MP? The problem is the best friend of Mr. Narendra Modi is Gautam Adani.
Okay.
And the largest and the biggest scam is Adani scam, which amounts.
Okay. You made three questions. You posed three questions, sir.
And if there is anyone who raises question against Gautam Adani, is going to be throttled like this.
Let's go point by point. You've raised three important questions. I want Sanju Verma to answer those three questions. Three very pertinent points being raised over here, which he says that if there is already a recommendation for suspension, if there's an inquiry, for instance, that's been ordered, how can you recommend suspension, and why has the committee been so slow to act in other cases such as Mr. Biduri's case? Sanju Verma.
Madhav, first and foremost, thank you for that interview by Mr. PDT Achary. It actually gave a very holistic perspective on this issue. I'm not here to answer Mr. Shantanu Sen's questions. I'm here to, answer what you asked me, given that this is a very sensitive issue. My limited point is this. Does the Ethics Committee have the moral right to recommend expulsion of Mahua Moitra? Yes. What is the next step? The next step, as per Rule 316E of the Rules of Business of the Lok Sabha, says, once the Ethics Committee submits its report to the Speaker under Rule 316E, the Speaker then, using his discretion, will table it in the Parliament and call for a discussion which should not last for more than half an hour. Once there is a discussion under Rule 316E, then under Rule 316F of the Rules of Conduct and Procedure of Business of the Lok Sabha, a motion is adopted. And once a motion is adopted in the Lok Sabha on the basis of a report which has been tabled to the Speaker at the behest of the Ethics Committee, the adoption of the Ethics Committee report automatically results in expulsion of the said Member of Parliament, which in this case is Mahua Moitra. So point number 2, which I have made, is that every single procedure is being followed prior to the potential expulsion of Ms. Moitra. The third and most important point, which I think your audience needs to know, Mother, this whole thing about Adani. Look at the hypocrisy, look at the doglapan, look at the chaplacy, And look at the, sheer lack of ethics of Trinamool Congress and its top brass. On the one hand, you keep ranting, howling, Adani, Adani, Adani. On the other hand, in September 2022, barely a little over a year back, Mamata Banerjee gave Adani a 25,000 crore contract for construction of and development of the Tajpur deep sea port in East Midnapur district.
Okay.
Thereafter, she gave Gautam Adani a 10,000 crore contract for modernization of the Haldia port without even so much as a tender bid from other players. So point number 3, before you talk about Adani,
Okay.
I today as the national spokesperson of the BJP, wait a minute, Madhav.
Yeah.
I as the national spokesperson of the BJP want to ask Mamata Banerjee, because nobody else in TMC is really important or relevant. I want to ask Mamata Banerjee, why is it that your leaders come on national television and say Adani aisa hai, Adani waisa hai? Then why?
Okay, I got your point. I think your question is there. I have to go across to others as well. And I'm about to give Dr. Sen a quick chance to rebut you on that question. Dr. Shantanu Sen, direct question. You're doing business with Adani. Of course, Sanju Verma says that the government of West Bengal has gone out of the way. But in any event, the same business group which your party MP says has been targeted because of her speaking out against this particular group, the West Bengal government is doing business with and has no problem in doing so. Dr. Sen.
Yeah, brief answer to the question raised by Sanju Verma ji. Yes, of course it's a business deal because Adani is a businessman and he has been doing business in all the states. But Mamata Banerjee or any other leader of TMC is not using the private chartered flight owned by Gautam
You sound like a rabid
which is
hypocrite.
done by Mr. Narendra Modi.
Mr. Sen, have you ever heard yourself? You're sounding like such a brazen hypocrite.
One at a time. Sanju Verma, I'll give you a chance to respond. I want brief answers from both of you before I go across to others. Dr. Sen, please complete. Yeah, please complete quickly. Quickly, sir, please. Yeah.
Government is doing business with Adani, but Trinamool leader, no, not a single Trinamool leader, unlike Narendra Modi, is using the chartered flight owned by Gautam Adani. Keep it in your mind.
You can respond. I'm not stopping you from responding. Let him complete his point. Okay, now he's finished. Respond to him. Yeah.
I hate to say this, Madhav, because your debates are by and large very sane. But since Mr. Sen, spoke about Narendra Modi, बड़ी विनम्रता से आपके साथ बात करती हूँ, Mr. Sen. नरेंद्र मोदी जी देश के प्रधानमंत्री हैं और बार-बार उनका नाम उछालने की ना तो किसी की हैसियत है, ना तो औकात है. But coming to your limited point, how is it that when you gave a 25,000 crore contract to Adani for Tajpur port, you say ये तो business deal है, सब चंगा सी. You give Adani a 10,000 crore contract for Haldia port. Yes, you say ये तो business deal थी, सब चंगा सी. When Adani invests 70,000 crore in Rajasthan because you have an alliance with Congress now as part of the dot alliance, you say सब चंगा सी, ये तो business deal है.
Okay.
Adani does business in Gujarat.
Okay. I think that question he attempted to answer. Certainly, I don't see both of you agreeing on this question. So allow me to go across to other panelists. Let me take this simple question across to Anirban because there are very many aspects of this report that have to be debated. Anirban, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to just read out what is an excerpt from this particular report. It says that it's been explicitly informed by the Ministry of Home Affairs that several of the documents as listed in the reply of the Ministry of Home Affairs are not available in the public domain. These include draft bills which are circulated in advance for the members' consideration. For instance, it's learned that J&K Delimitation Bill 2019 was circulated in advance. This leads to possibility of leakage of such sensitive material which could be exploited by inimical elements to the detriment of national security. So as far as the national security is concerned, this is the finding. How do you respond to it, Anirban?
Okay. Let's for a moment consider that this allegation is correct and Madam Mahua Moitra has indeed committed a crime against the nation, national security, etc., etc. But if that is true, then in the same footing, Mr. Darshan Hiranandani was complicit of the same crime. He was hand in gloves with the same activity, right? If in that case, even Mr. Darshan Hiranandani is an anti-national and his company has got thousands of crores of investment in the BJP ruled states. Has any of the BJP ruled states, chief ministers or other ministers come out and said that we will stop these investments, we will freeze these investments, we will arrest Darshan Hiranandani? Have any of them said that?
Madhav,
No.
let me come in.
Because the entire thing is not an investigation, it's not an inquiry, it's a farce.
Okay.
Because we
Madhav,
know
let me
that
come in.
from the very beginning, the verdict was...
This is
just
not
a minute,
about
just a minute.
BJP,
The
Trinamool
verdict
or
was
about any other political
pre-decided.
party.
Is this an inquiry? We were harping about the affidavit of Darshan Hiranandani. Why wasn't he called before the committee? Because the truth would come out.
No.
Okay,
Therefore, this
Kabir.
inquiry is not even an inquiry.
Okay, Kabir, why was Darshan Hiranandani not summoned?
Madhav,
Once again,
no,
I asked
Madhav.
this question to PDT Achary, who said that it's a prerogative of the chairman. But nevertheless, since you're posing the question, I want Kabir
Madhav,
to
I want to
respond.
put something in perspective. I want to put something in perspective. It really saddens me that till today, the people are going on about different political parties. It's about BJP, it's about TMC. They are bringing the Honorable Prime Minister. It is really not about that. It is about Mahua Moitra, a people's representative who has breached her parliamentary privileges and the ethics. Now, as far as the ethical part and the privileges part is concerned, it is a shut and close case. She has admitted that she did share her login credentials. I mean, there cannot be a debate on this. I mean, the people who are today saying that why wasn't he done this, why wasn't he called, why wasn't he cross-examined, it's an admitted case. When the lady herself is admitting this, how can there be a debate on this? Number one. Number two is the criminal part. Of course, the ethics committee is not competent to go into the criminal aspect of it. That is why they have recommended an investigation by a proper criminal investigating agency, which ideally should be the CBI. Now, in that investigation, the larger conspiracy and who all are implicit in this, in compromising national security, ought to be investigated very clearly. And that should be done as fast as possible. So far as I am concerned, the first part, which is the breach of privilege and the ethics, is a close and it's really a shut and close case. But the other part should be investigated by a proper criminal investigating agency.
Right. And also, there's one more aspect to this, Anirban. Let me just read out one more aspect on this login aspect. They say the transfer of login credentials to unauthorized elements could provide an opportunity to such elements to access the system, leading to several potential hazards. Given the threats the country is facing from state and non-state cyber actors, such leakage of credentials could render the system vulnerable to serious cyber attacks and potentially disable the system entirely, thereby crippling the functioning of the Parliament of India. Second, such elements could plant material into the system that could impact national security by creating false documents, fake narratives, etc. This is what is stated in the committee. Do you think this is not a serious finding?
It's
Anirban.
Okay, if you call this a finding, if you call this a finding, then we also should consider that more than 1 crore of Aadhaar data of our countrymen have been leaked. Do you think that is not a breach of national security? In this case, the portal concerned, you can upload questions, you can type and upload questions only after the concerned MP would give you the OTP, or because the OTP arrives in his or her mobile phone, will the question be submitted on the floor. Therefore, there are lot many checks and balances so that nobody can just simply go in and access materials that they are saying are very important for national security. That is not how our things work. And number two, when we are questioning Adani's investments from foreign countries, there's no clear answer. This group has got hold of many ports in our country and the investments are from shady foreign investors about whom no details are available. So which is a more threat to national security?
It was because of a technical glitch. There was a technical glitch. But in this case...
now there is a technical glitch. Lakhs of people are losing their money, sir. Lakhs of people are losing their money and you call it a technical glitch.
But in this case, Madhav...
No, sir, you are not talking sense. You are not talking sense. Every day, every hour, people are losing their money because this government, this BJP government does not know how to protect our data.
Yes, gifts were exchanged. Where is the Prevention of Corruption
Why didn't you
Act?
call him? Why didn't you call him for inquiry?
Thoroughly.
Why didn't you call him for inquiry? Why did the committee not call him for inquiry?
Instead of facing this,
let me pose this question of gifts to Nikhil Jain because we have limited time. Nikhil Jain, let me read out what the committee says as far as the aspect of gifts is concerned. Just listen to this aspect. It says it's a matter of record of the deposition of Mahua Moitra made before the Committee of Ethics on 2nd November 2023 that she accepted taking a few gifts use of car, getting layout plans of official bungalow prepared by Shri Hiranandani. On this aspect, committee have also taken note of the contradiction between versions of Mahua Moitra Darshan Hiranandani, as the former had claimed that these gifts, amenities, facilities were given by the latter, whereas Shri Hiranandani in his notarized affidavit had worded this as she also made frequent demands of me and kept asking me for favors. One thing that is clear though is that gifts, the committee at least believes, have exchanged hands, and that they find is an aspect which they uphold in the form of the quid pro quo. Nikhil.
So, Madhav, there are three elements to this. One, did Mahua Moitra share her login credentials with Darshan Hiranandani?
I'm asking about gifts now. We've debated the login. We've debated login. Now let's come to
whether
gifts,
sharing of those... Second, threat, and third, cash for query. Now the point is that the committee has not exactly shown how those gifts were actually a bribe for asking the questions. If I have a friend and I give them some gifts and they give me some access or they give me some information, is it causation? That is the point. Cash for query is scandal, scam, corruption. These are the allegations by the BJP. But what I failed to see by the ethics panel report is, how is a quid pro quo established? Are you saying that a bunch of lipsticks and scarves is enough for an MP to be bribed? That sounds very absurd to me. So far as the allegations by the BJP of 2 crore have been made, they have not been corroborated by anything.
Are they not considered to be luxury goods, some things that the common man certainly does not use? And can an expensive gift not come under the category of a bribe? You're a lawyer. The bribes don't have to be only cash. They can be in the form of gifts also. Can they not be?
No, not at all. Absolutely not what I'm saying. Absolutely not what I'm saying. Bribes can very well be in kind, but you also have to look at the stature of the people involved. You also have to look at what is being involved. What is being said right now is that a sitting member of parliament was being bribed by one industrial conglomerate to act against another industrial conglomerate. Okay. The bribe in that can't be a bunch of lipsticks and scarves that amount to a couple of tens of thousands of rupees. Okay. There was no quid pro quo proved by the committee, and that is the problem.
Quid pro quo is not proved. Sanju Verma, quid pro quo is not proved by the committee. You can't say that a bunch of lipsticks and scarves are a bribe. That's in a nutshell the argument of Nikhil Jain. Please respond to him.
Smartly, turn the entire argument to a bunch of lipsticks and scarves. I have said this on your debate a zillion times, Madhav. The current issue pertaining to lack of ethics on the part of Mahua Moitra is neither about Henry the dog, nor about bags like Hermes or lipsticks or scarves, or even the renovation of her house, which Darshan Hiranandani claims he undertook the expense for. The basic point is this, and this nobody seems to be debating. I don't understand why journalists, and I don't mean you, but I mean many other journalists, because I've been on a zillion debates. Mahua Moitra is a member of the Standing Committee of Parliament on Information Technology. Mahua Moitra is a member of the Select Committee on Public Health and Family Welfare. Mahua Moitra is a member of the Joint Committee on Personal Data Protection Bill. So Mahua Moitra, by virtue of being a member of Parliament, but more importantly, by virtue of being a member of 3 important standing or joint or select committees pertaining to personal data, health, family welfare and information technology, had access to a whole lot of information, and each of those 49 times when Darshan Hiranandani logged into her Lok Sabha account, he obviously had access to this information,
important
which was
point.
Not in public domain.
Important point. Let Dr. Sen come in on this. This is one second. This is a very important point. I want Dr. Sen to come in on this. Dr. Sen, you're a parliamentarian yourself. If she's a member of certain committees, isn't it possible that others, such as either Mr. Hiranandani or his associates, or those sitting perhaps on foreign soil, would have had access to these very, very sensitive committees and the matters under consideration of these committees? Dr. Sen.
See, first of all, I being a member of parliament and being a member of few committees, I know how the basic parliamentary democracy has been ruined by this ruling BJP government. There is any importance of any committee which hardly exists. Out of their number, as because they are having enough number and they are having good majority, they run the committees according to their wish, according to their desire. And if there is anything which goes in their favor, they take up the issue. And if there is anything which goes against the opposition, they take up the issue. That's why.
No, let him complete. Let him complete. You've asked a question. Let's be be fair. Let him respond. Let him respond, please. He's responding to your question. Let him make his point. Yeah.
Unlike other BJP MPs cases which are lying with ethics committee since last few years, not a single step has been taken.
Are you saying?
Okay. One second. Allow me. Both of you, please allow me to come in here. Sanju Verma, he is asking you a question that why is it in the case of Mr. Biduri and several other matters, this alacrity has not been shown by either the Privileges Committee or the Ethics Committee? And I think that's a fair question. Please respond to it.
Okay, that's a fair question. But Madhav, with due respect to you, let's be very clear. Today, I will not allow anyone from the other side to deflect and digress. Latkana, atkana, bhatkana. Ye bahut ho gaya. If you have a grievance, and when I say you, I mean Mr. Sen or anybody from the TMC, please approach the presiding officer of the House, which in this case is Om Kotak Birla, or please go to the Rajya Sabha if you are a Rajya Sabha MP and approach Jagdeep Dhankar. The Speaker, by virtue of his powers under Article 93,
All
94,
right.
95, 96, will take a decision.
All right. There are several questions.
Being on the chair, they are working at the behest of your party.
Go
That is
to the
known to
Speaker.
Okay.
everybody.
Let's leave it there. Many hands going up. Many people want to comment on several aspects of this, but unfortunately, that's all the time we have this evening. Sanju Verma, Barrister Kabir Shankar Bose, Advocate Nikhil Jain, Dr. Shantanu Sen, Anirban Banerjee. I'd like to thank all of you for joining us this evening, and certainly remains to be seen what action Speaker Om Birla takes as far as this matter is concerned, and whether it's going to be made public as far as the report is concerned, or whether it's in fact going to come before the House and then a final decision is taken. All eyes on what the Speaker decides. Thanks so much for joining us.